What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We got a little bit different of a video for today. Today we're talking guns, and then we have a fun little match with
What's your opinion
Pathfinder at the end. So let's start off right here with the Wingman. If you guys like this type of content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, share with your friends. Let's talk in here. Wingman is a solid little pistol. You know, I feel that it's kind of niche-y in the fact that you got to hit your shots. So if you get easily frustrated, I would not recommend this weapon for most beginners. But if you have the patience to hit your shots, it could be a solid little tool for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and just, you know, watch a little bit of gameplay here. So you see this thing does bust, it does hit heavy, it does hit hard. But like I said, if you do not hit your shots and you're easily frustrated,
it's such a
not really a pistol I recommend a beginner picking up unless you're here in the firing range. Now let's bump over here where this is the charge rifle. Not one of my personal favorites. I think it's a little bit of a shit or a little bit of a bitch gun. It doesn't take any real skill to use. Pretty much put the crosshairs on, pull the trigger, and almost does instant 90 damage. Especially if you catch a opponent sleeping, sitting still, not really paying attention to what's going on around them. You'd be amazed at how many people get caught with charge rifles, and charge rifles just are pains in the asses because they have no bullet drop. You can literally hit somebody from across the map. It is not a fun time, especially if you're on the receiving end of it. If you're using it, you could have a blast and really rack up the damage. Quick way to get a 4K badge. Personally, I don't like the charge rifle. I will completely bypass it and not touch it whatsoever. For me, it's a low tier gun, nothing that I'm really going to focus on. Alright, the next weapon we're going to talk about here is the longbow, which is one of my personal favorites out of all the sniper ammo weaponry.
If we're talking,
probably to me it's the #1 sniper weapon in the game.
I'd have to go
just because it's semi-automatic. Yeah, it only does 106 to the head, as you guys just saw there, and the Sentinel does significant more damage, about 20 points more per headshot. But the great thing about, like I said, the longbow is semi-automatic, so quick follow-up shots. You can use it to engage it in close range. I wouldn't recommend it because it has very low sweeping speeds, so it's kind of hard to sweep and strafe. Now we're going to talk about the Sentinel, which is the #2 sniper in my opinion. Does a significant amount more damage than the longbow, but the problem with it is bolt action. So unless you hit that shot, your opponent's not really going to be too afraid to rush you. You hit that shot and you crack their shield, they might run and duck for cover. To pop a bat, they might not rush it depending on what your secondary weapon is. So user beware.
I don't think the Sentinel is
for
never meant to be
for when it comes to that.
that you're gonna
moving on over to the shotguns here. This is the Mozambique. In my personal opinion, I came up with this gun back in season 1. I absolutely hate this gun. It's total trash. It's gotten some buffs and a little bit of help along the way, larger mag size and everything. If you put the hammer points on it, it can be a deadly little shooter, but if you don't have hammer points, it's absolute trash. I hate it. It's a gun without an identity is how I feel about it. It's like, is it a shotgun? Is it a pistol? Is it something that a child can play with, which I wouldn't recommend. Who do I have their child play with it, right?
I feel like if you tag them with the Sentinel
flashback.
and you crack their shield,
but yeah, seriously, the Mozambique is just garbage. I mean, it does do significant damage if you can hit all 3 pellets. Does like 45 if you hit all 3 pellets.
Right.
But the likelihood of you hitting all 3 pellets in one shot is slim to none, especially if it's a moving target. Okay, let's see here. We're messing around. Mastiff. Another piece of junk shotgun in my opinion. I don't like the fact that it's a flat spreading shotgun instead of like a normal shotgun, which spreads in like a circle or oval pattern. This is pretty much flat based. It does do a significant amount of damage, so if you can hit your shots, it'll work for you. But if you can't hit those shots, like I said, it's a flat spreading weapon and it's not going to really do much. However, here we go, the EVA 8, the automatic shotgun. This is the #2. Chef's kisses on this thing. Fully automatic, and as you can see here, At medium to close range, this thing absolutely tears through an opponent. One of the main factors is it's fully automatic. You really don't have to do much. You don't have to aim down sights. It's just spray and pray, and you're not really praying, you're just raking. Definitely a good gun to pick up in early match, something that you might keep as the secondary in your bag, because it is a shotgun. You know, you're not going to have to worry too much about it taking up a lot of ammo slots in your pack. But let's go ahead and talk now about the best shotgun in the game, the PK, the Peacekeeper. This gun has no identity crisis. You got the charge mode, as you can see right here. 107 if all the pellets hit, which absolutely will destroy most of your opponents. If you can hit that charged up shot, you pretty much have this advantage in that gunfight. Even if it's a 1v2 or 1v3, you hit that charged shot, you're gonna crack one of their shields. You're gonna take that guy out of the fight because he's gonna try and break line of sight to pop a shield bat and whatnot, because he does not want to get knocked. If you can shoot it fast enough, you could probably knock him before any of his teammates knows what happened.
When I play the ballistic.
All right, look in here. We're gonna move on over to our light weapons. The P2020, aka trash on trash with a little bit of side of poop. I do not care for the P2020 as a pistol. I mean, if you've got a fast enough trigger finger and the person doesn't pay enough attention, then yeah, you can burn right through somebody with one clip. You can one clip someone, but they have got to seriously be not paying attention, or you have got to be able to hit those shots. It's basically like a 9mm, so you know there's nothing wrong with 9mm. Definitely not something I would pick up if I had my druthers. If I had ran across, you know, a P2020 and a wingman, I'd pick up the wingman. But you know, every gun's got their time and their place, and the P2020 with hammer points will seriously mess up someone's day.
I hear you, but
so that's something that you might want to keep in mind with. However, the RE45 is a great backup weapon. That's what we're using right now. Definitely something that I would not run as my primary, just because of the crazy recoil that the RE has. But the good thing is, if you do a little bit of recoil blending, just moving yourself back and forth, left, right, left, right, left, right, and kind of mimic that with your aiming, going in the opposite direction. So when you go left, you go right, and vice versa. It could be a decent backup weapon. Now we have right here the alternator, which is old school for me here. Probably the number 4 best light weapon in the game.
See, I don't know about that.
You know, I feel like the alternator doesn't get enough respect, because this thing has been nerfed, it's been buffed, and it's been nerfed, it's been thrown in the care package, it's been taken out of the care package. It has had so many identity crises, but you know what? For an early game SMG, definitely something I would pick up. If you can figure out the recoil, which I'm having a hard time right here demonstrating, I do apologize for that. But if you can have your shot on point, it'll slap. Now, moving on to the R99, this is probably the number 2 gun for me when it comes out of the light guns, just because of how fast it shoots and how accurate it is. I mean, you can one clip someone no problem with the R99. Not to mention, it's part of my most favorite loadout, what I consider a god tier loadout, which is the R400 loadout. You know, R99, R301. That loadout right there, like I said earlier, chef's kisses, y'all. It just slaps, it taps, it just makes you feel hard, ready to rock, and just, you know, you pick that up and it's like, ooh, baby, baby, where are the bad guys? Where are the bad guys, y'all? As you can see here, it doesn't take much to control this. It has a very predictable recoil.
Yeah, but after
and hip firing is not a bad problem.
You lose the headshot bonus.
We're gonna flip over here to the number 3 gun, I would say, for the light ammo, which is the Spitfire. I'm so glad they turned the Spitfire from a heavy ammo gun a few seasons back into a light ammo gun. Makes the recoil just a little more controllable. I mean, the recoil wasn't anything to really worry about when it was a heavy gun. This gun is the ultimate gun if you want to dominate a specific area with a field of fire. If you have a Spitfire with a purple mag, and you guys come across a team, a trio, or a duo, or whatever have you, and they're held up into a building, and you have somewhat of line of sight to a window, and they don't have another window they can look out of, you can just hold down that shooting button, rake that building to no end, and let your teammates just come up the back door and just kick it in, and have a significant advantage. Now, you do leave yourself open for pot shots, but hey, who doesn't get that? Moving on is the G7, which I feel like the G7 has dropped a lot in pickability for me, just because it's been buffed it's been nerfed so many times it's not even funny. The cycle rate is low. The only way to make this gun viable, in my opinion, is to get the double tap trigger, because it has a slightly higher cyclet rate because you fire 2 bullets at once, but when you break it down, you're basically firing the same amount of bullet, same firing rate when you pull the trigger. Just the benefit is you're getting that extra bullet for each trigger pull, and which can be benefit. But if you're not hitting at least, double tap kind of helps. You know, both rounds out of every 3 trigger pulls,
the same cyclet rate as if you were firing.
You know, it's hard to say that that's going to really turn a table, because if somebody's using something fully automatic and they know how to use it a lot better than you do, it's going to be hard. But we're going to go here to the number 1 light weapon for me. It's the number 1 gun in the game for me personally. It's the R301. This is my baby right here. If I have this in my hands, I feel like I can dominate the match. Nobody's going to beat me, in a gunfight, whether it be straight up, or I've caught the drop on them, or they got the drop on me, just because I know the recoil of this gun. I know the fact that if I don't run out of bullets before they do, I'm going to burn them. I'm going to go right through them. I'm going to crack their shields. I'm going to put them on the ground. I'm going to send them home to their mommies. They're going to suck some thumbs, and I'm going to move on to my next victim. With that being said, you know, it has been nerfed a little bit, but they can nerf this sucker into the ground. It's still going to be my favorite gun. I just love the 301, and you know, if anybody wants to fight me on that, catch me in the canyon, and I swear to God, I will burn you with it so bad that no amount of freaking burn cream is going to save your ass. Just watch this. Ugh, beautiful.
Like, honestly, like, I
feel
like when I have
baby,
this gun in my hands,
Disco Inferno. Ugh, dead dummy. Do I have a couple more rounds I want to shoot? Oh yeah. Look at that recoil control.
I am a fan of
beautiful.
The old school R
14 rounds. Combo. Wait for it. 14 rounds of just burn it out. Just love shooting this gun. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop over here to our heavy weapons. We're going to start here with the Prowler. I feel like the Prowler has been nerfed to the point where it's a niche weapon, in my opinion. Unless you are playing super sweaty, you're on that controller, and you are prepared to, every time you pull that trigger, to be pulling back on
I agree. The car has so much.
The analog stick to ensure that climb does not get those 5 rounds off target. It's not something I would suggest somebody picks up and uses. I wish they would bring back the select fire switch, because when this thing was fully automatic, you didn't want to get on the other end of it, because it would just fire at the perfect rate, didn't have too much of a recoil, and you could just run right through an enemy squad. You could very easily 1v3 somebody with a Prowler with a selector switch. It was just that good of a gun, and now, like I said, it's a niche weapon. You can make it work for you, but, you know.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
What are you going to do? However, we have right here the Flatline, which I think is the number 2 best heavy gun in the game. It's got a very controllable recoil pattern. It's got little to no kick. It's a solid spitter at mid range. Oh, yeah. It's great for close range, and it does have a selector switch, so you can switch it to single fire. Which, if you got a good enough scope on there, a good enough sight, you can reach out, I would say, consistently to 300, even 400 meters. Now we have here the 30-30, which I feel it falls in the same pool with the Peacekeeper. If you can hit that charged up shot to start the gunfight,
now
you're gonna make your life so much easier. You're gonna have such an advantage. But if you miss that charge shot, good luck.
Just like with the PK,
honestly, good luck, because it is single fire. You are having to tap that as much as possible,
you're going to have
and it's not going to end well for you if you're not hitting your shots. So again, not something I would recommend to you folks. Now, right here we have the Rampage, or as I like to call it, the Walmart version of the Spitfire. The reason why I say it's the Walmart version of the Spitfire, guys, is because I want you to look at it like this. Now, this thing has got a very controllable recoil. It's a very steady rate of fire, and it just smacks, like kind of like how the Spitty did when it was a heavy weapon. Now, it's if you can turbocharge this thing with a thermite, it will just actually burn through an opponent. However, I don't recommend using that, because when are you gonna have a spare thermite? Because the thermite's one of the best grenades that you have in the game to, you know, open a door, trap a room, you know, catch an opponent off guard if you can throw the thermite just ahead of them and let it pop off as they run right into it, and they're not expecting it. So the odds of you having a spare thermite, in my opinion, are going to be kind of low. Now, this by far to me is the best heavy gun in the game. The car, it's beefy, it's mean, it's nasty. It can do anything and everything the R9 can, and just a little bit more, because it does have the ability to use heavy and light ammo, which, you know, makes it pretty good. You know, you can pick up both. Whether or not you want to run both, that's up to you. But I just feel like if you pick it up that way, if you run out of one ammo, you can flip to the other. And it just gives you a little bit more versatility. I like the recoil. It's very similar to the 301, just not as drastic. So it makes life a little bit easier. But honestly, car all day, every day. Now, coming up to the energy weapons, we're going to go from the ones that I hate the most to the ones that I love. And so we're going to start out with an absolute piece of dog water, in my opinion. That's the Devotion. Unless the Devotion has a turbocharger on it, I will not pick this sucker up. So if I don't see a turbocharger before I pick up the Devotion, it ain't getting picked up. Unless it's absolutely a last resort. I hate how it jumps off first shot. I hate how it takes forever to heat up. Even with the turbocharger, you get that initial 2 or 3 round jump before it becomes a buzzsaw. Now, if you can maintain that recoil for the first couple of shots, and it'll rake. Now, this weapon right here, the triple take, is another weapon I think is just total trash. It's basically a gun without a is it a DMR? Is it a shotgun? Is it an assault rifle? What is it? I mean, in close range, it could be considered a shotgun because it does fire 3 blasts. But again, it's a flat shooter. They spread wide. It's very. I've actually seen people split the shots. Because the spread is too wide. And use at your own discretion. Now, we're right here in the middle. We're going to go here. This is the middle gun. Take it or leave it. It is the Nemesis. I have a love-hate relationship with this gun. And the reason for that is it's a burst weapon, which burst weapons can be viable. However, again, they'd be much more viable if you bring back the selector switch, because a Nemesis on full auto would just scare the living dog shit out of anybody. But again, that's another reason why I have a problem with it being a burst weapon, because if you are in a fight and you're having a hip fire, it makes it difficult to hit your targets. Now, I've seen guys, beam people with the Nemesis, but that's probably because they have a lot of time on the Nemesis. And me, I don't want to put the time in with the Nemesis personally, because I have other weapons that do the same thing, if not better. So I'm really just going to use the Nemesis just to get to one of the next guns that I like. Now, the number 2 energy gun that I absolutely love, with or without a turbocharger, is the Havoc. The Havoc in me, I feel like even without a turbocharger, even if you're late to the gunfight, you have a 70% chance of cracking and dropping your opponent before they drop you, even if they got the drop on you. Just with how fast this thing shoots, how hard it hits.
doesn't
to me
take you off target too
is
much,
the perfect
you're gonna
oh
milk
shit
somebody.
weapon.
Even if they've already cracked
You know,
their
that weapon
shields,
that's gonna
you
allow
gotta
you to be like,
you
oh
gotta even
shit,
send
no,
them
no, no, no,
a
no, wait, come back here, come back, come back
crack
here,
ignition
type thing.
and put in the
Where, you know, you may not have been the first one to pull the trigger, but you will be the last one to pull the trigger because your opponent's going to be on the ground. I'm going to say that's going to happen about 70% of the time. Plus, if you do have the turbocharger, makes it a lot easier, and I would say your percentage goes up to about 85 to almost 90%.
So what I like to do
Now, with that being
is
said,
tap
that just gives way to my favorite energy weapon. That's the Volti. I have been doing some serious work with this gun over the last couple of matches.
It's like a cheat.
Trying to get this thing to catch up to the 301, which is, I think I have right now at like level 5 or level 6, and the Volti is one level behind.
It's just heaven for me.
Which is so good, and for it to be an SMG, really just speaks volumes to what it can and cannot do.
Iron sights. Once I customize,
so you know, guys, this is what I think of the standard weapons in Apex. We do have the legendary weapons, but I'm not going to really get into those. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I do have a match for you guys right now. For you, like I said, it's a quick little banger. It's Pathfinder. I hope you guys enjoy it.
The great part,
like I said, leave a description.
You have a purple mag with
like I said, please go ahead and leave a like. I'll see you guys in the next one.
You could literally put a blue mag on and not have a problem. I agree. I mean, with a blue mag, you just do work.
I'm out of energy ammo.
Okay.
First blood, and it's not us. Wonderful. One minute. The ring isn't far. Hostile right here. Reloading. Enemy down. Smart bullet struck true. Enemy. An enemy's here. Idiot with a firearm.
I come from the original Mozambique era, and there's no way in hell I'll pick up a Mozambique.
Half the squads are gone. Our foes fall swiftly. Sniper stock here. Flatline here.
Go for it. Yeah, I do not play well with the beak. It just annoys the crap out of me. Works for me. Oh, yeah, there's people up there. There's people up there's oh yeah, not a problem.
Hostile spotted. Hooligan there. to fly on a zip line? I am. Contact with target. Fire. Thermite grenade out.
Volt devotion right here.
I'm down. We've been in close there.
Right here in front of me. Ah, GG's.